Welcome back to This Week in Bevy. With 0.17's release out of the way, we are now into 0.18 development. Kicking off the development cycle with two new working groups focused on ergonomics, font ergonomics and async ECS ergonomics. As usual, many crates are bumping releases for 0.17, so we'll only explicitly mention the ones that are new or have significant changes beyond the 0.17 compatibility release in the crate section this week. Kicking off the PRs with easy screenshot plugins. Taking screenshots is important for any game marketing, including Steam pages, social media posts, Bevy release notes, and even This Week in Bevy. 21.235 introduces a new screenshot plugin to Bevy DevTools. Add the Easy Screenshot plugin and configure the controls to press a key to get a new screenshot for your running application. And in 22.98, the ability to remove systems from a schedule with the function remove systems in set was added. For most uses, run conditions are still the right approach, since removing a system will cause a schedule to get rebuilt. However, removing a system will remove the cost of the run condition as well, so it's nice to have both options. And Solari pushes forward with 21.350, which adds the ability to use clear colors with Solari. And the AnimationTarget component gets some attention. AnimationTarget is a component that currently contains the animation player entity and the AnimationTarget ID. 2771 changes this to split the information into two components, animated by and AnimationTarget ID. The animated by component is placed on the entity being animated, and links to a different entity with the animation player. The AnimationTarget ID component holds a UUID, typically built from the hierarchy of bone names. Together, this means different animation players can have animation clips that target the same AnimationTarget ID, and the animated by component can switch between them at runtime. That is, bones have IDs through AnimationTarget ID, and the choice of which animation player controls the bones lives in animated by. And 29.99 makes an addition to the material trait with two new configurable functions, one for enabling prepass and one for enabling shadows. These control whether or not the prepass or shadows are enabled for a given material. And as always, Alice's merge train is a maintainer level view into active PRs and how the Bevy sausage is made, so definitely go check out that thread if you're interested. Kicking off the showcases this week with Rusty Puzzles, a first 2D puzzle game where levels are JSON files, storing entities and their coordinates. The source for this one is available, as well as being able to be played on itch. Next up, we've got an implementation of volumetric cloud rendering using compute shaders based on Horizon Zero Dawn. And from rendering to netcode, this is an example of redesigned netcode for efficiency and reliability. It works on real devices across a real wireless network. And next up, we've got a custom 2D level editor. This takes use of Sprite. Basically, everything is done through individual PNG files. One PNG where every pixel color represents a tile entity, etc., and another set of PNGs for tiles, each having rules in the center. The goal is to decouple level layout from detailing in biomes, so every time you play, every level could get randomized between any of the available biomes. And next up, this short introduces Fields of Aaru, a Bevy game 3 years in development. This YouTube short gives an overview of the game and its mechanics. And this is not the only time we'll see a switch from Egui to Bevy UI this week. In this case, after some feedback, the Egui to Bevy UI port mirrors the original style again. And next up, we've got Pointclouds rendered with Bevy Pointcloud, a fairly recent crate. In this case, you can see data gathered from a driving car. And hot patching is new in 0.17. This shows off some of the new Bevy hot patching features. Hot patching in 0.17 allows you to hot reload Rust code. Next up, we've got a spaceship shield inspired by a scene from Farscape. Here we see a prototype Bevy integration with the map scatter crate. It is mentioned that this isn't exactly what the map scatter crate is supposed to be used for, but it's still a fun demo. And next up, we've got some experiments for fun with Voronoi Mosaic and Avian 2D. This space game gains transmitted stellar power from stellar panel to planet, while Mercator is set to release on November 1st, and this is the release video. Mercator is set to release on Steam and on itch. Next up, we've got a crafting system MVP for an MMORPG. This crafting system integrates with a Lua scripting system. And here we have another port from Egui to Bevy UI. In this case, you're looking at the Egui implementation, and this is the new Bevy UI implementation. This is a plus 3000 minus 1500 change set, mainly because Bevy UI is more low level according to the author, but in turn you get more control. The UI is now in a separate crate and Egui is no longer needed, so it's quite a simplification overall. And in our next showcase, Pointclouds coming up again with Potree point clouds. This uses Potree RS to build a feature for Bevy point cloud that can load Potree point clouds. And finally, something I'm personally really excited to see, but you will probably have to go to Discord to actually hear. This is Mood Zone audio with Bevy Seedling. Sensors and marker components are added to this scene using Skeen, and those sensors are used to play audio in different areas. The actual audio in the video did tend to be pretty low, so instead of trying to boost it and add a bunch of noise, I've left it for you to go check out on Discord. And that brings us to our crate section. In our first crate release, Bevy Window as UI root. Bevy Window as UI root spawns windows as independent UI roots, which can be ideal for debug widgets. And then we've got UI Activity iOS RS. UI Activity iOS RS is a small crate to share text and iOS with a Bevy demo. And finally, for the crate section this week, we've got Soft Ratatouille 0.1. Soft Ratatouille is a pure software renderer for Ratatouille with no terminal or GPU required. Egui integration is provided by Egui Ratatouille, and Bevy Ratatouille integration allows you to turn an existing terminal app built with Bevy Ratatouille into a native or web app. And in the educational section this week, we've got 3 different videos. The first is Hooks and Observers in Bevy 0.17, a dive into the Hooks and Observers APIs, as well as an overview of the Observers changes in Bevy 0.17. Next up, we've got animated light textures. Light textures are also new in Bevy 0.17. Using materials to animate these textures does require some setup, which this video covers. And finally, a Rust talk that covers Forte and related topics called Multithreading Games in Rust. And that is it for this week. As always, we have the full list of merged PRs if you want to get involved, as well as opened issues and opened PRs if you want to get some review in or fix some bugs. That's it for this week. I will see you in the next one.